Welcome into episode number 152 of The Voice Behind the Voice. I'm Sean Aronson, the TV and radio broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints, an independent minor league baseball team in the Twin Cities. As we get closer and closer to our baseball season, we start to do more and more for our fans, for our season ticket holders, just to kind of get them ready for the season that starts in about 7.5 weeks from now. And over this past weekend, for our season ticket holders, we rented out Tria Rink, which is the Minnesota Wild's practice facility here in Lowertown, St. Paul. They built a brand new practice facility within the last year that's, 4 blocks or so from the ECHL Energy Center. And I went over there. I have been on ice skates exactly one time in my life. That's it, one time. And I was young. I was in elementary school. I had to be in, second grade maybe, first grade, second grade, somewhere in that time. Never rollerbladed in California. And other than the one time ice skating, never, ever did it again. And I remember when I was a kid and ice skated, my ankles, they couldn't hold my body. And so my ankles were sort of inverted when I skated. They kind of faced each other. And that's all I remember about ice skating. So I decided to give it a go this time around and see if I had gotten any better in the 30-some-odd years since the last time I ice skated. The answer is a resounding no. And the first time that I went around the rink, I promise you it took me about 10 minutes. I never fell at any point. Let's get that out there right now. I never fell once. But the first time I went around the rink, I basically walked my hands along the boards and the glass to get all the way around. And I wouldn't call what I did exactly ice skating. But I was proud of myself that I did it, and I was done after the one time around. And took off the ice skates, handed them back to the guy at the counter, and then I started to get a hard time from a couple of our players that were there that wanted me back out on the ice. And they started giving me a hard time. So, as anyone would do when you start getting teased and made fun of, you're like, well, forget this. I'll go out there and I'll show you. So I probably made about another, 6 or 7 laps around the rink and got further and further away from the boards each time I did it. Again, I wouldn't call what I did ice skating at any point. And the funny thing was, if you're a golfer, you can relate to this, or even if you play any sports, you can relate to this. As our players are skating around me, and by around I mean as they're passing me, and there were only 2 guys there, 2 players there, they would shout out things that I would need to do. Push off with your full skate, or glide along the ice, or bend your knees, or do all these things. The problem with that is, right, and I relate this to golf, is if you go see a golf instructor and they tell you to do 10 different things and you go out on the links and you play and you think of all 10 different things, you're going to be worse off than where you were when you started, right? You should never do that. Just think of one thing, focus on that one thing, and that's it. And guys are shouting at different things at me to do. And I was like, look, I'm just going to do what I'm doing right now and be proud of what I'm doing. Of course, here in Minnesota, out of the womb, young boys and girls learn to skate immediately. So there were kids on the ice that were literally sprinting around the ice. I didn't care. I was proud of myself for doing it. You can actually go on the Twitter page at The Voice BTV. I posted a 7-second video of the first time that I went around the rink and basically crawled along the boards with my hands. But you can see it if you really want to. I posted it on Saturday. It's comical, it's embarrassing, but I did have a lot of fun. The funny thing was there was this little kid there, super cute little kid, and he's wearing like his hockey, mask, or not the goalie mask, but like a hockey mask that college kids have to wear or young kids have to wear. And I told him, I was like, hey, do you want to check me into the boards? So I let him check me into the boards because I always wanted to see what that was like. And I don't know, the kid was like 5 years old or something. So it was cool, but a lot of fun. So with that, it's only appropriate that for episode number 152, we have an NHL broadcaster. Josh Bogorad, who is the NHL broadcaster and the broadcaster for the Dallas Stars. Again, truly unbelievable story that he has. And it starts when he's in high school and how he starts to become the radio correspondent for the LA Kings. We talk a lot about Southern California and his time growing up there, but we talk about how he got to be a correspondent in high school for the LA Kings for this radio station. It is a humorous story, basically, that starts with him calling into some guy's show and leaving a message on how he could help, and some, I don't know if miscommunication is the right word on the radio host's part, thinking that Josh was someone that he really wasn't. It's quite funny. And we also talk about his time in Anchorage, Alaska, working in the ECHL, and what it was like to live in Alaska. And he's got some great stories about that, and how he really captured that moment of his time living there, and how he didn't want to miss out on any of the opportunities, regardless of what he had going on or regardless of the time of the day. So, again, we sat down over at the hotel that the team stays at in the bar area where I usually do most of these. And again, by now you're used to it. Towards the end of this, you'll start to hear them setting up the bar area. Again, it's happened plenty of times in these podcasts, so you're used to it by now. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, you can do so on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Again, be sure to rate it. Be sure to share it. Let your friends know about it. We keep climbing the charts on the amount of people that are listening to this, and I greatly appreciate that. You can follow us on social media. Again, Twitter at The Voice BTV, Facebook, facebook.com/The Voice BTV, and you can always email me, thevoicebtv@gmail.com. All right, let's get to it. Episode number 152 with Josh Bogorad of the Dallas Stars. JW, roll the open.
There were times she was pregnant and it would be 3 a.m. and the northern lights would come out, and we'd look at each other and like exhausted, and both have work the next day, and bloodshot eyes, let's go. And we would go up to a mountaintop and we would go out in 7-degree weather and just stare up, because you don't pass that up. And it was so great. It was so great.